You know, we tend to think of the world map as something permanent, something written in stone. Borders are set, treaties are signed. But right now, at this very moment, the fundamental rules of geography are being challenged in the freezing fjords of the North Atlantic. What we're witnessing really is a tectonic shift in global power.
So, you gotta ask yourself, is the very map we all rely on being actively rewritten right before our eyes? Well, based on the events that are unfolding as we speak, the answer seems to be a hard yes.
Okay, so the news is just breaking and it's moving fast. Reports from Xinhua are confirming a high-level US delegation has just touched down in Nuuk, Greenland's capital. And look, this is not just some friendly visit. Some officials on the ground are already using a pretty chilling term for it: a soft invasion.
At the exact same time, The Guardian is running with an absolutely chilling report. The Prime Minister of Denmark, America's supposed ally, has used the word coercion to describe the pressure she's under from Washington. I mean, that is not the kind of language allies use with one another. That's the language of a full-blown crisis.
And then, to top it all off, Reuters is reporting that two other G7 powers, Canada and France, are forming what they're calling a strategic shield. They've literally opened new consulates in Nuuk, basically drawing a diplomatic line in the snow. And just like that, the battle lines are clear.
Okay, so what is really going on here? We're looking at what might just be the most complex, high-stakes real estate negotiation in all of history. But let's be clear, this isn't just about a massive block of ice. No, this is about who is going to dominate the entire globe for the next 100 years.
All right, let's break down this US delegation. Officially, it's a fact-finding mission. Sure, but look who's leading it. Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, who is one of Washington's absolute top experts on the Arctic. Her presence alone is a huge signal. It's an aggressive use of soft power, designed to clean up the mess from previous clumsy threats of annexation while pushing the very same goal forward.
And you gotta listen to the specific words they're using here. The delegation is talking about shared security, and they're very carefully avoiding the word ownership. Why? It's a brilliant semantic trick to just bypass Danish sovereignty altogether. It's like saying, we're gonna share the security of your house, which kind of implies you already have a key. It's a strategic pivot away from that disastrous, let's just buy Greenland idea.
Because look, the real prize here, it's not just a strategic spot on the map, it's what's buried underneath all that ice. Greenland is sitting on absolutely massive deposits of rare earth minerals, the stuff you need for everything from your smartphone to an F-35 fighter jet. Right now, China processes 90% of the world's supply. Gaining access to Greenland would shatter that monopoly overnight. That's the real game.
But Washington's big play here? It's not going unanswered. As the US tries to make its move, two of its closest allies have decided to build a wall. Not a physical one, but a diplomatic one. And how they're doing it is pretty amazing.
What Canada and France just did, I mean, this is basically unheard of in modern diplomacy. It's not just that they both opened new consulates in Nuuk. The insane part is that their foreign ministers showed up in person to raise the flags. In the unspoken language of geopolitics, this is a checkmate move. They are planting their flags, sending a crystal clear message to the White House. If you want Greenland, you're gonna have to go through us first.
And if you look at this timeline, you can see exactly why they felt they had to do something so drastic. This isn't just some sudden idea from Washington. This has been a rapidly accelerating obsession. From that blunt offer to buy the island back in 2019, to the intense diplomatic pressure over the last couple years, and now to this security pivot, the US is clearly done asking. They're moving into an implementation phase.
So here's the bottom line. Canada and France are literally acting as geopolitical bodyguards for Denmark, especially France. See, France, with its own overseas territories and global mindset, understands that if a stable NATO ally like Denmark can be bullied into giving up territory, then no one in Europe is safe from American pressure. This isn't just about Denmark. It's about defending the entire international rulebook.
Okay, so now let's try to put ourselves in the shoes of the nation caught right in the middle of this superpower tug-of-war. For the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, this is a completely impossible situation. The pressure she's under is just immense.
I want you to just listen to her words. We wake up every morning to different threats. It is not easy to think innovatively under coercion. Let that word sink in. Coercion. That is a word you use to describe an enemy, not your main military protector and ally. The fact that she actually said this in public, it's a signal of pure desperation.
So what kind of coercion are we talking about here? Well, behind closed doors, you can bet the threats are brutal. Things like maybe crippling Greenland penalty tariffs. Or what about a threat to cut off the vital intelligence sharing that keeps Denmark safe from Russia? And the ultimate trump card? Washington could just bypass Copenhagen entirely, recognize Greenland's independence, and cut its own deal, leaving Denmark with absolutely nothing. It is a lose-lose nightmare.
So, with Denmark backed into a corner, a solution is starting to float around Washington, D.C. It's being sold as this clever compromise, a nice middle ground. They call it the Diego Garcia model. And while it might sound diplomatic, its history is incredibly dark.
So what exactly is this model? Well, on paper, it's pretty simple. Denmark would get to keep its flag flying over Greenland. They'd retain nominal sovereignty. It lets them save face. But the United States would get a 99-year lease, giving it total control over huge security zones. And wouldn't you know it, these zones would just happen to cover all the strategic ports and all the mineral-rich land. It is, for all intents and purposes, annexation in everything but name.
But, and this is a huge but, we have to talk about the history here. When this exact model was used for the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, the people who lived there, the Chagosians, were forcibly and brutally kicked off their ancestral land to make way for a U.S. military base. It's a deep, dark stain on history that raises a terrifying question. What happens to the 56,000 people who actually live in Greenland? The Greenlandic Inuit who have been on this land for centuries? If their homes, their hunting grounds, their entire culture falls inside one of these so-called security zones, do their rights even matter anymore? This isn't just about lines on a map. It's about the future of an entire people.
Okay, let's pull back for the big picture. Why is all of this happening? And why is it happening right now with this kind of intensity? The answer isn't just in Washington or Copenhagen. It's in the massive forces that are physically reshaping our entire planet.
All right, so let's quickly recap the key takeaways from this whole situation. First, it is crystal clear the U.S. is past the point of asking. It is now in an implementation phase. Second, this North Atlantic wall that France and Canada have built shows a serious, visible crack in the Western alliance. And third, this Diego Garcia model has now popped up as the most likely and maybe the most dangerous way forward.
But the real reason this is all coming to a head, the true driver, it's climate change. The Arctic ice is melting, and it's opening up brand new shipping lanes, like the Northwest Passage, that are going to slash travel times between Asia and Europe. In this new world, Greenland isn't some remote island anymore. It is the strategic toll booth that controls the most important new trade route on planet Earth.
And that's the brutal truth of it. In this new era of great power competition, with both Russia and China militarizing their own presence in the Arctic, Washington doesn't look at Greenland and see a country full of people. They see an unsinkable aircraft carrier, a permanent strategic asset that they believe they absolutely cannot afford to lose.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really unsettling question. Is this a necessary security move in a world that's getting hotter and more competitive? Or is this just a 21st century land grab where a superpower uses the language of security to justify rewriting the map by force? How the world answers that question in Greenland, well, that's going to set the precedent for everywhere else.